Hello everyone, my name is Joanna. Thank you so much for coming back. For those of you who are my subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. For those of you who are new, welcome. I hope whatever you find here you will like, and I hope you stay. Let me just be very brief. Interesting messages in the month of March. For one, they flowed very differently. There seems to be a lot of transformation going on, and I do, particularly in the month of March, and it seems to be consistent with almost every single sign. Very, very consistent. So if you are drawn to a certain sign that you don't necessarily look at, by all means listen and see if there's a message there for you. The messages are not time bound, which means there is no end and beginning. These messages may make sense to you because they have happened. You are in the middle of it happening, or it will happen at some point down the road. So do yourself a favor. If it doesn't make sense to you right away, listen to it in a few weeks' time or even a few months. And from those of you who are regular subbies and subscribers and you do comment, it looks like 98% of you find that this makes sense with as time passes. Also, my focus and intention is always, always, always to give you something to think about that will help you understand yourself more deeply. In other words, my focus isn't on predicting. If an information comes through that is of futuristic nature, I am more than happy always to give. However, my focus is more about helping you understand how you create, how you make things happen. Because the moment you know how to make things happen, you will stop waiting for someone to tell you what's going to happen, because you'll be able to create it. And that is always my aim. That is what I want to teach. That is what I do teach. And that is how Spirit is working with me. What can I give you to help you see yourself as the master of your own creation that you are, so that you can understand? And once you understand, you can create in a different way. So that is always my intention, and I hope that whatever comes through falls with that. Let's put it that way. I think that's all I have for you. Listen to the other signs if these don't make sense. Of course, this is general. It may not fit with everybody, although I'm very surprised how many of you are responding and saying this is exactly what you're going through. So also, very quickly, again, the layout is very different. I don't even have a layout this month, and it was mostly intuitive. So you will see some of the messages. I look at cards, and some of them I don't even look at cards because it's flowing. So the way information is flowing for me is also very different. So I am under also a transformation, if you will. And I think that's all I have. Of course, there's a 6-month projection for you down below from January till the end of June. If you're more interested in that information is there. And more than anything, thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for coming back. For those of you who are new, welcome. I hope you stay. Have yourself a wonderful month of March. And yeah, let's get going. Hello, beautiful Capricorns. These are going to be your messages for the month of March 2019. There's a part of me that's very excited about this message, or the feelings that I have, because it very much feels like I am about to leave something behind. And it isn't marked by any sort of difficulties. It feels to be very enlightening to me. And I'm picking up the energies, even the way I'm probably sounding right now feels almost like I'm half sleeping. And I think that signifies that for some of you, you may have felt like you've been sleepwalking through life. Perhaps lately you have been feeling like you are very tired and it's hard for you to engage in life. Perhaps you have been feeling this for quite some time, and perhaps it has been a theme of yours. The point is that there's a lot of energy here that is very determined. So it sounds like many of you are, the vision I have is, imagine you are living in a place, house or an apartment, and you are deciding to move. And you go through the process of taking everything out of this place, your home, and there comes a moment where everything is cleaned up, the home is clean, there is nothing left to take. The only thing left to do is to close the door from outside in and to give the key to whoever you give the key to. In other words, there's a tremendous feeling of accomplishment, but also completion. For some of you, it's around feeling depressed or having depressed mood. If you have been feeling off for a while, and if you haven't been able to feel like your old self, I feel this is also significant as it is about to as it's about to be released. So I'm going to just go on with the cards, although just like with the other messages, I feel like I'm not even going to go through the cards. I mean, I'll go through some of them, but it seems to be a very different flow for me this month. So the moment I connected to your energy, I heard this phrase: power of authority is within you and your attitude matters a lot. And then when I pulled out some cards, doesn't matter which deck I used, I kept asking for more. It's all fairly straightforward and very indicative of you changing your mind. It is either you changing your mind in terms of the way you think, or you changing your mind on something that no longer works. And perhaps that is something that you are choosing to leave behind. Perhaps it is an aspect of you that you are leaving behind, that you are choosing to leave behind. In any case, power of authority is within you states to me, when I received it, was first and foremost, you decide what that statement means to you, and it will mean different things for different people. To me, it signifies that although you think no, that's not what I'm going to say. It feels to me like this statement is for those of you who are on a search. What are you on a search for? To be something more, to be something better, to have something more, to have someone. But it's like the sense of authority within you is missing. Now, what does a sense of authority mean to me? To me, it means feeling self-assured, feeling secure in my own skin, feeling like I belong, feeling like I matter, feel like I'm important. Not the ego importance, but that quiet space inside you that says, you're okay, I'm okay. When you feel in charge of yourself, or where you feel the power of your authority within you, then generally speaking, you tend to be more satisfied with yourself and therefore more satisfied with your life. Because the more you are satisfied with yourself, the more you are attract circumstances that will reflect that feeling inside of you. So you'll find much more satisfaction in life circumstances. But the reason why this is being brought up is because I feel like this is a very timeless message. And although it is intended for the month of March, this will probably transpire over many months. So this will be valid for a period of time. The idea of transition is implied here, and I've said in the other signs, we're all in transitions. We are all moving, away from some direction and into another direction. For some of you, this is an obvious transition. For some of you, it's not so obvious. It's happening underneath the surface. But for those of you who are in some sort of a transition, and generally transition to me symbolizes coming out of being one way and moving on to being a different way. So this, to me, symbolically, to me, this symbolizes a change of circumstances, but also it symbolizes to me a change of a trait of character. And the reason why this is being shown, for those of you who are shifting and changing in terms of a trait of character, it is important to remember that change, complete change, takes a while. So if you have been working on yourself, whatever that means, if you have been changing and shifting your beliefs, changing the way you do things, recognizing your thought patterns, actioning them accordingly, then eventually that will become full, solidified, brand new foundation. However, some of you may not be there yet, which may feel very frustrating. So, because it comes up here as the theme, so to speak, one of the themes for March, the number 3 signifies also growth. If you feel like you're not quite where you want to be, just know that as long as you continue to do the right things, to focus on the process of watching your thoughts, which create your reality, and looking at yourself and reflect back on your life in order to get wisdom and information, before you know it, your desires, your desires will come to you. But if you're spending a lot of time in trying to figure out how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, with whom, in what city, etc., etc., you are continually basking in a space of not having it. And as you know, that doesn't often make you feel good, because you're reminded, well, it's not there yet. So that's one of the messages that I'm being shown. Your attitude matters a lot. To me, this statement is to let you know that attitude, well, obviously attitude is important. Why? Okay, I'm going to ask, why is this statement being said to you? What you believe is what you're starting to create in terms of your beliefs is only one part of the exercise of change. You have to act it. So if you are training yourself to think differently, but your attitude sucks, excuse my French, give them an example. Okay, so example could be, you're doing the right things, you're reading the right books, you're listening to the right things, you are, trying to remember to say the right things to you, but you still have this attitude that is rooted in not enoughness. Nothing ever happens to me. You talk, you engage in dramatic situations. You are critical of yourself. You complain. You're not enough, or it's never enough. In other words, your attitude must complement your desire. And if your desire, or what you're trying to achieve, is rooted in a sense of lack, then your attitude will be one of lack as well. So this is a message that says, check your thoughts once in a while. Make sure that you are thinking about the things that you want to think about. Sometimes we want to think about things that are not great. It's almost like entertainment. But when you put a lot of thought into that thought, in terms of your vibration and your aim and focus, you'll end up creating more of that. So which leads me to the next aspect. The next message in terms of what's important for March is deep knowing. And this is about trusting your own inner wisdom. See the owl here. This is a symbol for wisdom. trusting your own intuition. The number 4 signifies to me that many of you are in the process of creating a brand new structure, a brand new stability. I feel for first and foremost, it is a structure and stability in terms of your conditioning, your mind's conditioning. Of course, this could mean that you are trying to solidify a brand new experience with a job, with a relationship. You're trying to, find a new home. Number 4 is stability, but it's at the very beginning stages of stability, which is how I see number 4. I also just heard the word April. Perhaps for some of you, this will mean much more in the month of April than in the month of March. But do kind of check in with this periodically just to see how it connects with you. Number 3 is the number of expansion. When we expand, we generally move not only from one destination to another, or something new becomes available to us, but it also pushes us beyond our comfort zones. 4 and 3 is 7, which to me is always a symbol of enlightenment. As we go through transitions, as you go through transitions, oftentimes you will experience things in your life that are new to you, and therefore your understanding of that new situation and also deep understanding of you is very important. Why? Because for one, when you deeply understand yourself, you know what makes you tick. When you know what makes you tick, you're less likely to make a choice that you might later, regret. And if you are going to be facing new situations, which absolutely you will be because you're changing, then it is important that you are not acting from a place of lack, that you are acting or making your choices or decisions from a place of abundance, which brings me to the idea of luck, L-U-C-K. And another sign got this message, and I believe it was Gemini. So if you have Gemini in your chart somewhere, listen to that, and if not, just listen to it and see if it actually resonates with you. If you feel that you are unlucky, you will create scenarios in your life that will tell you so. It's that simple. So it is important to pay attention to your thoughts. And that's why I'm saying this message is very timeless, but for some reason, it is being said to you in the month of March. Partly because some of you are making changes around career choices. And when we make changes around career choices, either we want to make changes or the universe makes change for us, and then we have to be ready and prepared to move on to something else. It is important that we're acting from a space of stillness and from the space of abundance versus a space of chaos and a space of lack. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. If we believe in lack, if we continue to constantly think about it, that is what we will keep on creating, well, as long as we want. On the other hand, if we recognize the things that we are in terms of importance, the things that we represent in terms of value, then your focus is going to be on the things that are valuable and also abundant within you, and that will obviously attract the same to you eventually. So as you go through this process of transition, whatever form of transition you are going through, in whatever capacity, in whatever part of your life, know that your the way you think about things you already know they're very important, but they're like, month of March seems to be somehow amplified in terms of energy. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because the sun is somehow connected or the moon. I'm not an astrologer or astronomer. But there seems to be an amplification of energies where in the month of March, you get extra oomph, which means if you focus in the correct direction in terms of your desires and what you think about, then you are much more likely to attract to you something that is very solid and much more to your liking. On the other hand, if you are constantly perpetuating the idea of lack, whether it's because you focus on things you don't have, or you focus on things other people have, but you don't, or you focus on what's wrong with versus then what's right. If you focus on the things that are terrible in the world versus the things that are good, you get the idea. Because the energies seem to be amplified in the month of March, you will also create more of the same. So I don't want to keep on beating dead horse here, but I feel like it is critical for me to address. And thoughts and how we think are always important, but I'm being asked to say that this time specifically in the month of March, and I don't know if it's just for you or for everybody, it is critical for you to pay attention to where your thoughts go. And 90% of the time, we don't even know what we think about. We are unaware. It's beyond our awareness because we do it so often. We've done it for so long. We don't think about it. It's like breathing. Requires no effort on our part. It happens in the background. So, therefore, mirror reflection is one of the messages that's coming up. Now, what is a mirror reflection? Notice the double 9, which if you add it together, it's 18, which if you add it together, it's 9. This is about letting go. What am I talking about in terms of letting go? More than anything, it is letting go of attachments. How do we know if we have attachments? Well, all we have to do is look at our life, see what we're struggling with, see the theme in terms of how we feel, and then it will show you what your attachment is. In other words, you have an attachment to a belief system. We all do. What belief you attach yourself to will correspondingly create the life you either want or don't want. So this is really important for those of you who are up for it and have the guts to do it, to look at yourself and ask yourself some important questions, such as, if you are in a situation where you feel stuck, or you feel, burdened by something is bugging you, something hasn't been working, something you're struggling with. If you're a happy person and everything is fine, this isn't for you. On the other hand, I'm not saying things are not fine, but we're all transitioning, we're all dealing with something, and this is a timeless message. But for, again, the energy of March is very potent. This is what it's meant, know thyself. When we know thyself, which means the I, we are better equipped to handle life. Not only life becomes less chaotic because we pay attention what we attract to ourselves, but even when we do deal with chaos, we are better equipped to handle it, and we get back on track easier and quicker than ever before. So one of the things you might want to look into is, what is it that you are protecting? Or what is it that you are protecting yourself from? I'm looking at this image here, and what I feel from this more than anything, I feel I am here and there everywhere, but nowhere really in particular. I actually feel like I'm floating, except it's not a good floating. I feel like I don't have my own base. So for many of you, this is a feeling of feeling lack of feeling at home. And this isn't you feeling not at home where you live. Yes, that could be. But this is more feeling not at home within yourself. And if that's the case, you may need to ask yourself the question, why? Why is it that I always feel this way? Why don't I feel at home with myself? Chances are there's some stuff rooted in your past, in your childhood, which is usually where it comes from. So that may require some attention for you to address it, not to belabor it, not to get stuck in your past, not to say to yourself, yeah, I knew it, things are not. No, it's about detaching yourself from what once was so that you no longer feel the need to protect yourself. For others of you, it is the idea that you need to protect yourself, otherwise you'll be hurt. And the reality of life is that life is full of pain. Can we really protect ourselves from it? No, we do. Well, we do the best we can, but at the end of the day, if somebody wants to hurt you, I don't care how thick of a wall you're protecting yourself with, it's not going to help. So if your sole purpose is to protect yourself from pain, from rejection, whatever it is, you are inevitably living a life that is possibly very lonely, because you are barricaded with a lot of walls that prevent you from receiving what you want. And that can be job, security, finances, love, friendship, health, whatever it may be. The other part of the message is, what are you hiding from? Are you hiding from yourself? Are you hiding from the world? Are you hiding from the world because you don't want the world to see you? And if that's the case, why are you afraid of being seen? And this may be for those of you who are in transition to a different career, for example. Perhaps you have been stuck in a job for a while and now it's time to move somewhere else. Or perhaps the universe said, you know what, you've done this for a while, you're not willing to move on, so we're going to do this for you. It's going to happen quick. However, it's going to be a little bit not fun at the beginning, but you'll move through it fairly quickly and it'll be done. It's kind of like when you have an owie and then you have a Band-Aid. When you take out when you rip the Band-Aid off very slowly, it's kind of painful. When you do it really fast, it's still painful, but it's boom and done. That's kind of sort of what I'm being shown. So there's this message of protectiveness is to allow yourself to think, am I protecting myself from something? Am I protecting myself from the very thing that I want? If I am in a search of something better, but something better is not happening, what is it about me that is preventing me from having it? And upon reflection, you might find some interesting things come up to the surface. Okay? For some of you, the Earth, the Earth Keeper showed up in reverse. And this is an additional message that I asked for. For some of you, it is paying more attention to your body. It is paying more attention to your physical needs. It is in terms of taking care of yourself. Have you been spending more time on other people than you have on yourself? And if that's the case, you might want to rethink your strategy. And if you say, I don't have time, then you do not believe you are important enough to make time for you. So that's a message. Now, there is a message here of devotion to service. So I know that many of you are caregivers and you take care of a lot of people, and you often put yourself last and put other people first. This is one of those times where rethinking that strategy might be very helpful in terms of finding solutions to your problems. In other words, if you spend majority of your time taking care of others, worrying about others, because that is where you derive value from, then is it working? So that's one message. For others of you, this is really interesting because I feel like you are being called to be of service to others. I feel there is a need for you to express your own soul in a way that helps others in some way, whatever that may mean for you. You might be drawn to healing, you might be drawn to some esoteric work, you might be drawn to cards, to astrology, you might be drawn to public speaking, you might be drawn to psychology. That message is there for some of you. However, if you are someone who is drawn to these healing, let's say, gifts or healing ways, and you come from a place of lack yourself, your ability to use your gift in the future is going to be, well, minimized. Because when you take care of others and you have high need of being liked or being valued by others as the predominant energy, then you are far more likely to depend on caring for others to get to feel important. And although there's nothing wrong absolutely with others valuing you, of course it's important. However, if that is your only source of filling that inner bucket that's empty, then you are highly likely to be overwhelmed. So if you have any connection to wanting to be of service, if you're a healer already, it's time for you to make sure that you take care of yourself on regular basis first. Always help others from a space of belonging inside of you first. Otherwise, you are highly likely to overgive, which at the end of the day brings anger and resentment. Okay? And some of you are healers. It's very obvious. Is there anything I need to address? So I said, give me some cards. What is this all about? It's all about your mind. It's all about the things you think about. If you have some predominant fears that have been haunting you for life, notice what they are. Again, the energy in March seems to be very amplified. And because it's amplified, I feel it'll be easier for you to see what are the things that you are stuck with that you have not been able to see before. Some of these things are around relationship struggles. Some of these things are about commitments to other things or other people. You are being asked to formulate new ways of thinking. Your thoughts are your weapon, so to speak. And when you use your weapon, terrible word, but I'm going to use that. If you use your weapon wisely, it can do a lot of good. But if you use it in unwise ways or irresponsible ways, well, we know what that's like. It can do a lot of damage. So the Arrow and the Ace of Swords are basically identical cards. They do signify a brand new beginning, and they do signify a focused attention. So for the month of March, you are being asked to watch your thoughts, which is where your energy goes. Where your energy goes or what you focus on is what you will create more of. And because the energies are amplified, it's like manifestation on steroids. So if you do not want to manifest the wrong thing, make sure you know where your thoughts go. And the best way to handle that, if you have thoughts all over the place, is always remind yourself this question. If you are anxious, it's because about your future, it's because you are afraid something is not going to happen the way you want to. If you are feeling depressed, then you are stuck in the past and you are dealing with things that has not been finished. It is important for you to know and to pay attention to this, that the only real thing that ever matters is what happens in the moment. Because what happens in the moment, what you feel right now, is what eventually is going to create your future. So rather than trying to figure out what your future is, your best way to handle this is to focus on what you're feeling right now. That doesn't mean you're ignoring that future is an important aspect of your life. Of course it is. And it doesn't mean ignoring things from your past. but it means if you focus on your past or if you focus on your future, you're not really living in the moment. And if you're not living in the moment, you are not living at all. You are either running or chasing. Okay? And if you are chasing after something, if you are in a hurry, ask yourself this question. What is it that I'm chasing? And if you're chasing it, the very idea of chasing means something is running away from you. So why is something running away from you? Number one. And number two, why do you feel you need to chase it? Do you believe you can't have it without chasing it? So those are all the things that I feel are important for you to look at. Again, it's taking care of yourself, making sure that you have the right attitude regarding whatever it is that you're wanting to create. And power of authority is within you, which means you are the author of your creation. You have the power to create whatever you desire. In order for you to do that, you have to now watch your mind and you have to be in the moment. Okay? And those are the things I want to leave with you. Very interesting message. A little bit different than the other ones, but very interesting nonetheless. The other thing I wrote here is acceptance of what is the first step to recovery. So if you are in the middle of a move from one set of circumstances to another, or if you don't really currently have what you want and you're wanting something, you're in transitions. If you fight what you have right now or what you don't have, you will constantly be living in a moment of resistance. Every time you live in a moment of resistance, you're not going to attract to you what you want, because in order to attract to you what you want, you first have to accept what's in front of you. So acceptance of what is the first step to recovery. If you are not in a place that you want to be, don't fight it. Accept it for what it is. There's a reason behind everything that you are going through. Some reasons you will never understand in this lifetime. Some reasons you will understand later on. I'm sure there are many times in your life where you struggled with something and years later you look back and you go, man, I really needed that and that really changed my life. So it's always hindsight where the wisdom comes through. So I'm going to leave that with you. I also want to say, don't be so stubborn, whatever that means to you. And with that said, I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself. Make yourself a priority. Does not mean you have to ditch every other responsibility. It just means you are also your responsibility. Don't ever forget that. I feel Spirit is really trying to drive this home with you. Okay? And of course, if you would like a private session with me, that information is down below. I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself and see you soon.